You have been sentenced to 22 years in prison.
How y'all doing? This is Jeff. I want to thank y'all for subscribing to my channel. For those who haven't done it yet, I advise you to do it. We always, come and bring the realest stories, the realest opportunities of what is like to serve 22 years in prison and, be blessed and fortunate to overcome that situation. I'm fresh out. It's still a journey. And I, thank those who encourage me to do better and those who supported me along the journey of me being a better person than I was before. And overall, I know a lot of people may never be in that situation, and I hope that they never be in that situation. But I know there's a curiosity there. People always ask me, what is like in prison? What do you do throughout your day? What things can you buy, what you can't buy? Just stuff like that in general. And hopefully some of the things that I bring to you today just give you just a small snippet of what it is to be in prison. I've been to maybe 8 different prisons throughout my journey. Over, like I say, 22 years, I've probably been to 8 different institutions. From road camps to what they consider supermax, high-risk security institutions. And I just want to give y'all a few things of what that may look like in general. The amenities that we have day to day, the luxuries that you have to, be able to wake up to that we may take for granted. The simplest things that you're not going to think about, And I want to be able to also show those who may be throwing rocks at prison, may be headed down the wrong path, maybe making the wrong choices, feeling like you got to do certain things to survive out here in society, to be able to provide for your family and things of that nature. Just more or less what you could be facing and the things, or how to find a way to appreciate some of the simplest things, the things that you probably wouldn't think twice about. For me, I walked into prison with a full head of hair. You see now, smooth bald head, a lot of it probably have to do with genetics. Some of it probably have to do with age and stress, but I go there just to give you insight on this here, right? This is a anti-shank razor. This is one of the razors that we would have to purchase in prison. If you don't have money, this would be given to you. But you have to you have to be indigent. Indigent meaning that you had a zero balance on your account for a whole month before the state say, okay, we're going to give you the simplest things for you to be able to take care of the most basic hygiene things in general. Now, this is a single blade razor. This is one of the things that I hated. I hated this because it's insufficient in the form of what it's supposed to do. Like I say, it's a single blade. You glide this across your head, I guarantee you're going to have a piece of skin in it. You're going to get so many nicks, scrapes. It's just horrible. And when you end up at a supermax prison, if you end up in a state prison, I know if you've seen one of my videos before, I talk about the difference between correctional facilities versus state prisons. And state prisons here in Virginia, you're going to have Sussex 2 State Prison, which was one of the very first prisons I went to outside of receiving. I started at high level. You know, you have Sussex 1, Sussex 2. If anybody familiar, I think some of those prisons is probably getting closed down now. You have King Mountain State Prison. You have Wallace Ridge State Prison, what they call Wally World. And then you have Red Onion, which is the highest of the high supermax prison. And I advise nobody to ever end up in those situations, but you would, if you into shaving your face, your head, or you know, any part of your body, this is what you're going to get familiar with. And you know, for me, this is what I use now. Brand I don't really care to speak on. They, you know, I don't have no sponsors, I don't have nobody supporting me, but I want you to be able to really look at the difference in the sense of, you know, you have a multi-blade razor versus anti-shank razor. And when I say anti-shank, is exactly that. It's not too much damage you could really do with this. It's very flexible in a sense. If you try to rake somebody with it, stab them, cut them, you may, you know, break the skin, you may make them bleed. Of course, it's a razor, but it's not going to do but so much damage. Now, you know, people have been known to remove the blade out of these and put it into another device as a toothbrush and try to make a shank or something to defend themselves with, or cut themselves with, cut people with, things of that nature. But that's not what we're here to talk about. I just want you to understand the difference in the sense of luxuries, the things that we take for granted. I've always seen this when I was in prison. And I said, man, when I get out, once I had used this so many times, I said, man, when I get out, I got to get me one of those. I got to get me something that's, you know, more electric, easy to use. You know, this right here is a game changer in the sense of a hygiene product for as razors and things of that nature, things to use. But this is just one of the items that I wanted to make y'all familiar with. Now, on another note, of course, you know, we're talking about hygiene items today. And another thing that you will have to get familiar with is this here. And this is what they call an anti-shank toothbrush. Now, this toothbrush here is maybe 2.5 inches, if that. But look at it. You see the flexibility in this? Now, when you're at a high risk or a high security prison, a lot of things going on. Like I say, people making shanks, people making weapons, and they say, okay, we're going to design something that you can't hurt yourself or nobody else with. And this is their design. But imagine trying to brush your teeth with this. I'm telling you now, my wife be tripping now when I, you know, take care of my hygiene in a way that I do. I'm a very clean guy. One thing people got to understand, I've been around men, of course, for 22 years. And I say men are some of the nastiest guys, you know, creatures that I've seen in general. You know, some people carry themselves as if they were still on the street, and some people lose themselves. But I say 9 times out of 10, the way you carry it in prison is also the way you carry it in the streets when it comes to certain things. And I'm speaking as far as hygiene, you know, the way people take care of themselves. This is another one. This is another what they consider anti-shank, which is a lot harder. It's not as flexible, but you see how much smaller it is. You know, and these the things that we had to take care of our teeth. Now, granted, I know any dentist would tell you these are not proper hygiene products, but under the circumstances, you have to use what they give you. You know, they always say at this point, make your second chance better. This is not open. I'm not going to open this because, I already have one. But these are, one of the luxuries that you would be giving up walking into prison. This is something that I prefer to have. Know what I mean? But like I say, with the habit of brushing my teeth with these, and I use this, and my wife like, you brush your teeth too long. But I'm so used to using something of this magnitude, and in my opinion, you got to put in a little bit more extra work. You're going to put in a little bit more extra time. So I think being in the habit of using this make me use this way longer than I would normally have to. But at the end of the day, my breath don't stink. And speaking of your breath stinking, it brings me to this. This is a toothpaste that they have in prison. And I don't know, how clear it may show. For one, you can see that it's clear. This is a see-through gel. I guarantee you it has no taste. It has no smell. So for those who, and you can see up here, it say maximum security. And it say anti-cavity gel toothpaste up here. But I don't know what this is at the end of the day, but it's what we have to use. But if you got a breath issue, I guarantee this is not correcting it. I done been around guys with some of the most horrible breath that you will ever smell. And I'm not one to be in people's face, but that's the point. You could be across the table and still smell a person's breath that have to use this on a consistent basis. And like I say, they have these tubes where everything is clear. You see, even the toothbrushes, it got like a see-through texture. If I took something hard and tried to wedge it in here, when they do what they call shakedown, when they come do cell search and things of that nature, it's going to be hard to hide things in something that's have a clear tube. People known to put all types of things that they want to hide, contraband, stuff like that. They had it in their toothpaste, they had it in jars or anything like that. So because of that, they make everything clear. Everything going to be see-through. All the lotions is going to be see-through like this. You put on lotion, it's almost like putting on water. Another thing that we have over here, this is every man's girlfriend. I don't know if you could read the engraving on this bar, but a lot of people know it as Lisa. It seemed like your everyday, the only thing that I could associate this with, the closest thing, and it's probably 100 times better, is Ivory soap. If you had Ivory soap on the street, this is probably the closest thing you'll get to it in prison. This is what we call state soap. State soap is just that. It's provided by the state. If you don't have money, if you don't have loved ones sending you, JPay or anything like that, like I said, you have to go without for a whole month before they put you on the list to get what they call an indigent packet. If your books is indigent, meaning you have zero funds, these are one of the things that they will provide you with. And then this is what we call a state soap as well. And I think you have to send it to a scientist to even understand what is the ingredients in this. You wash your hands with it, you wash your body with it. It seemed like you could never rinse it off, either one of these. But You know, this is like everybody best friend to a degree. A lot of people like to wash their clothes by hand in prison. This is probably your best go-to. I've always heard that is lie, or is lie in it. Maybe so, but I've seen people do everything from put it in their hair to lay their hair down. You see a lot of guys that's locked up. Waves is crazy. They got crazy waves. 9 times out of 10, they then soaked it up with Lisa, brushed it down, put on a do-rag, and it would almost perm your hair straight. Like, that's I don't know what contents are in this, but that's what it would do. And like I say, it would bring a dirty t-shirt back white. Know what I mean? And if you didn't, like I said, if you didn't have the luxury of being able to afford commissary, to be able to go to, the canteen of things of that nature, this is what you're going to use to wash your body. You may be, this going to strip all oils off your body. It's going to strip you down all the way, because you're going to be ashy as I don't know what when you finish with Lisa. And, I've heard a lot of people talk about, they call Lisa your girlfriend because people got other activities that they choose to do with it, and they say Lisa will burn you. But, to each his own. And another thing that I have is a lot of people take for granted a tablet. This tablet, it allows so much. I'm trying to put in my code here. But as you see, at the end of the day, these are like our entertainment. Prison came a long way from when I started. Like I said, I got locked up in 2002. So when I came in the system, we had what they call a Walkman. And if you're a Gen Z, if you part of the new, like I said, if you're a Gen Z, you probably don't know what a Walkman is. I know you probably heard of your parents talk about like tape decks or things of that nature, where you had a smaller device. It was a little block, it opens up and you had to put a tape in it, and you could press play, reverse, rewind, fast forward, and stop. That's all it had. They used to sell those in prison, and at the time, people would take the motors out of a Walkman, and that's how we was able to get ink work. Tattoos a big thing in prison, so they wanted to eliminate motors and things of that nature, which, if you take one thing, is always another way to figure things out. But at the end of the day, like I say, Securus or JPay is behind this device here. So just to back up a little bit, we went from Walkmans, and then eventually, I'm thinking maybe 2004, maybe 3 or 4 is when they introduced CD players, and CD players gave you the same ability to, eventually if your CD player broke, the best thing to do with it at that time was to be able to take out the motor and make a tattoo gun, things of that nature or whatever. But you was only allowed 13 CDs per inmate. Now, if you had an abundance of CDs, it was only because you had a best friend or somebody that you was cool with that was getting out of prison. And of course, certain things you're not going to leave behind, or that you're not going to take with you, rather. And those are some of the things people would leave behind, would say, all right, well, I get out in a month, or I get out next week, you can have my 13 CDs. And, when you're doing time with people, you're trying to maximize the things that you can have, in a sense. So if I could get 13 CDs and my Sally could get 13 CDs, of course, we're not going to buy the same 13 CDs, Of course, certain music is what's popular, If a certain album come out, everybody want the latest new album. But in my mind, it's like, okay, if you're going to buy that album, I'm going to buy something totally different because we could swap. It give us a better variety. But after the CD players, then came the tablet. And don't get me wrong, the tablet definitely was a blessing. And you know, like I say, with the functions that it has, but you have to think about what it don't have. There's no Bluetooth. You know, you have to, you know, plug in your headphones here or whatever to be able to listen to it. We had what we call CL20s, or it won't no Beats by Dre, or no Canons, and you know, all these expensive headphones they have today. But you know, they serve this purpose. But also with the tablet, it allow you to communicate with family. Know what I mean? But the communication process is still a hassle because, like I say, there's no internet, there's no Wi-Fi. So we have what they call a kiosk machine, and you will have to take like a USB cord. You have to plug it into the tablet itself. Then you have to plug that tablet into the kiosk machine, and that's how you was able to be able to type a message on here, but then send it to a loved one. And you know, not just the music. You know, like I say, you could write letters, and then that's how you also receive pictures. If you know somebody that's locked up and you haven't connected to their JPay, you know, I advise you to do it. I think it take guys a long way. It, you know, it keeps them out of trouble to a degree because this is a privilege. You know, they don't necessarily have to give you this. They could take it for whatever reason, for any hiccups that you have. But when you're receiving love, it make you, you know, stay out of trouble. You don't want your device taken. You don't want them to strip your privileges for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, up to a year to 2 years, you know, depending on how often you may get in trouble or not. But like I say, far as that go, like I say, all my pictures that my loved ones send me, things that I wanted to get before I came home, or, you know, things that I may like, my family will send me a picture of it. Do you like this? Do you like that? I'm like, nah, I don't like those. But like I said, it was always a blessing to me to be able to receive flicks. This was our way of living through the people on the outside. That's one thing that I like to do. I love to reach back. I think like one of the first things I did was sign up for JPay. I took the guys who I knew state numbers with me, and I added them all to my list. Every week I try to send them pictures. If I have a select a few guys that I could send funds to that way. And more or less, that was the best way to be able to communicate. You know, that's how we talk. And like I say, it takes people a long way. If you have a loved one that's locked up or doing time, please, you know, take a couple of seconds, a few minutes throughout your day, and send them, you know, some love through this device, Securus or JPay. Just download it or whatever. I know in the jails, you know, they have the opportunity to be able to FaceTime through these. In prison, you don't have that luxury. In jails, you do. But as of right now in the state of Virginia, they don't allow it. You don't be able to make the phone calls or FaceTime through your tablet like other places allow you. But you know, once again, you see this is something that's clear, it's see-through. You really can't open it and hide nothing in it without it being exposed or seen. And you know, it's also educational. You know, I pride myself on education. You know, if you ever seen one of my videos before, I talked about getting my GED in prison. I was a high school dropout, but once I knew that I wanted to give myself a better chance, I knew education was number one or whatever. And they have educational videos on here that teach you some of everything. I don't care. Maybe, it's limited. It's not as much as what Google or the internet will expose you to, but it's a lot that you will learn that 9 times out of 10 you wouldn't know. Even down to being able to get tutored. They, teach math problems, they teach science, and like I say, you could receive all types of emails. Even y'all could send, take screenshots and at least send a picture to educate somebody on certain information that they may want to know through this device. If you ever land yourself in a situation as I did, this is going to become your best friend. But for me, this was the first form of technology that I was able to put my hands on. Like I say, I wasn't fortunate enough to grow up with the internet or a computer in our house. Like I say, today time, everybody has a smartphone or a device in their hand. At the drop of a dime, they could obtain, any kind of information. They could let their mind be exposed to things that they probably never would have been exposed to before. But as I say, at the end of the day, this is a beautiful device that you should get acquainted with if you have somebody that's incarcerated. And like I said, if you ever make the wrong decision and you find yourself in that situation, you're going to be, have to get one of these devices. I don't really care for it, but as you see, they also have games you could play up here for your pastime. And I say it's convenient because, for the gamers or people that has nothing to do, when you have nothing to do is when you find yourself in situations that you shouldn't be in. But like I say, at the end of the day, this was something that I also passed my time with. I play a game here and there. Wasn't fond of some of the options that they had as far as the games that you could buy. But you have to understand, everything that you're exposed to on this tablet have to be bought. Even down to the music, it'll tell you, like up here, I had 1,038 songs. And if you think about it, 9 times out of 10, I pay $1 per song. Nothing is free within the system. So yes, this device get very expensive, but over a period of time, if you working, if you doing the jobs that you can or whatever, get you a state check, it really don't take you that far. At the end of the day, I think on a high end, even as a GED tutor, I tutored for 2 years. On a high end, on a 5-week pay period, I think my check was like $72 a month. Know what I mean? And basically we getting 40 something cents an hour. Literally doing 8-hour days, tutoring people or whatever. And that's dealing with people that probably don't care for education, don't care to get a GED, or they feel like they got so much time is irrelevant. But, I was fortunate to be in a situation where I knew that was a necessity. I had to do it. I'm very thankful for, they had a program at Dillwyn State Prison and is in a few other prisons where UVA has a educational program where they provide college courses. I was able to do like a entrepreneurship class, like I say, financial capabilities. They have Capstone, which is like business foundation. But yeah, the school, UVA Darden, had a resilience education program. Shout out to the Fairchilds on that. They definitely helped us a lot. And like I say, even the state will provide you with videos similar to what we doing or what I'm doing. But I think if I was able to get this type of video on these tablets, it'll be way more beneficial to the guys that's coming out. I think, like I say, it's just more of a clear-cut platform of how to get yourself in order and how to take advantage of your second chance, make that second chance better than your first. And like I say, these just some of the devices and certain things that we had while we was in prison. And you know, people talk about other things. Of course, they think about, you know, dang, you was gone 20 something years. You know, what were you doing? This, that, and the third. A lot of people, bigger curiosity is questions pertaining to sexuality. One of the oddest things that I heard, which is, you know, for me, I don't really want to tap into this lane, but it is what it is. It's a reality, you know, about homosexuality and things of that nature. To each his own. You know, if you find love in any way that you can, that's one thing. I think is a misunderstanding about prison, and when it comes to things like that. Prison is not as it was before. You know, they have numbers that you could call if you feel like you're being harassed or, you know, pressured into doing things that you don't want to do or whatever. I know that's a thing. It's not something that I really experienced. Like I say, I came up in a time where, you know, certain things was still real, was still going on. And don't get me wrong, it still goes on today in the sense of people that may have been sexually molested or raped and things of that nature. But I think today in time, if that's what somebody choose to be into, is because they making that choice, not that they are being forced into that situation. So people, you know, will be like, well, what did you do to get through and this, that, and the third? And of course, you have situations where it's self-pleasure. You know, you have your hands, you know, slip and slide or whatever. But I know a lot of people may have heard of the term Fifi. You could Google it and it'll show you exactly what it is. But I have an example of what they consider a Fifi. We consider them pee pockets, if you know what the P mean. And that's exactly, you know, what we consider, you know, is, I'm pretty sure you could figure it out just from the looks of this. You know, this is something else that people take for granted. You know, men in general, you know, you find yourself in a situation where you're incarcerated and you feeling backed up or things of that nature. Fifi is going to become your girlfriend. You know, that's who you're going to be acquainted with. That's who you're going to become very familiar with over, you know, whatever duration of time that you have in prison. And, you know, that's just what it is. I think, like I say, people don't think about the amenities that they may take for granted. One of the biggest luxuries that I have right now is being able to lay inside of a king-size bed versus laying on a bed probably no wider than the width of this chair. You know, hard mats, no springs, hard plastic, pillow, thin as I don't know what. It's, you know, it's just an experience that you don't have no choice but to go through and become accustomed to. But like I say, it may be the things that I feel like a lot of people take for granted, or, you know, something you don't think about. And then when you get out here and you realize, dang, you know, and I'm going to tell you the biggest one, food. Oh my God, I've been indulging in some of the greatest cuisines that I could think of, in a sense. You know, I've been exposed to, and all I wanted to eat for me was a lot of seafood. I love seafood and things of that nature. And I know people that have loved ones, you probably get the care package. You see how expensive it is. You spend $125 and you have, X amount of items. But then you think about the things that's being consumed in that moment. Something that I consider gas station food, Roman noodles, soups. They was almost the death of me, To this day, I take high blood pressure medicine. And, if you follow me, if you pay attention to me, crazy about working out. I love working out, I'm physically fit. I run. I do all the things to preserve myself in a sense. That's one thing we have that a lot of people don't have on the outside, in the sense of when it come to working out, that time. We put in hours and hours of work. And it takes that, because you have to realize, what are we fueling our body with? We're trying to come out looking like a Greek god, or, what they say, cut up from the butt up. Know what I mean? But at the end of the day, we doing it off junk. We doing it off pure garbage. Know what I mean? High sodium and everything that we eat. Blood pressure through the roof from, just consuming, like I say, gas station food. Tater chips and soups is most of what prison meals consist of. And I'm not even tapping into the things that they serve us, 3 times a day. And I say this literally, I'm talking about things that I wouldn't give to a dog. Like, literally, if I can't identify, I didn't eat it. So, I was blessed and I was fortunate enough to be able to afford commissary. It get very expensive. You have to learn to budget and manage money to have that longevity and that freedom to be able to eat when you want to eat. But those are the realities and some of the things that you will cross in prison. Those just some of the things that you will face in prison. And, I hope the things that I expose you to today just give you a snippet. This not even nowhere along the lines of what I could really expose you to, in the sense of when it comes to luxuries of the outside world versus what you will have to deal with on the inside. Like I say, simple as shaving, brushing your teeth, the basic hygienes of just self-care. A lot of times you see people in prison and you look good, you look preserved, but overall, when you look at the overall health, when you look at their dental, when you look at, like I say, their blood work from just getting a regular checkup, the inside don't match the outside, but you could see why. Like they say, the oral care is so detrimental to health overall. And just to bring it back, at the end of the day, I don't know how much oral care you really getting with these flat toothbrushes. And these bristles tear along your gum line. My gum line received a little bit. It exposed the root of my teeth in the back just from, scrubbing with these. And maybe it was just the overuse of feeling like I had to do the extra mile and being extra abrasive. But at the end of the day, these are the things that you'll be facing. If you don't make the right choices, if you don't do the right things, these are going to become the things that you have to take care of yourself with. You don't have much of a choice. Right now, you have that luxury. And I think you should take advantage of it. Be blessed, be thankful. And like I said, I felt like if I had a chance to do it again, I just felt like, I deserve the best. I want the best of the best. I'm striving to do my best so I can have that. And like I say, it's just a big transition for me, you know. But I'm definitely blessed, and I'm definitely thankful to be in a situation where I could expose certain things to you from this side, so you don't have to face the side that I face. Know what I mean? Like I say, my whole platform is just about making a change, making that transition, and just showing you how to make decisions where I don't be facing these again. And a lot of people was tripping like, man, you gonna take that stuff home? You gonna do this? You gonna do that? And I'm like, yeah, man, I have a vision of what I want to do. You know, this is my way of giving back to whoever may need it. I don't know who you are. And, you know, maybe you know somebody that may need to see this. Hopefully, you know, you direct them to my channel. Please get them to subscribe to Fella Vision, you know, and listen to what I got to say. And like I say, if a person on the wrong path, if this don't help you come to the realization prison ain't where you want to be, these not the things that you want to be taking care of your hygiene with, you know, using these miniature razors, and you know they tell you, oh, this is for your safety, this is for the, you know, the next man not to be able to stab you or to do these things to you. You don't even want to be facing or under that circumstances of dealing with things like that. Like I say, even down to the Lisa, you know, Lisa, like I say, becomes everybody girlfriend. That's just a joke that we say or whatever, but it is what it is. You know, understand the blessings and the things that you have. Don't take the simple things for granted. If you could, you know, identify the simplest things as being important, you're going to make decisions to make sure those important things in your life. And like I say, if you have a loved one, please get on this JPay. Know what I mean? I've had people sign up on my JPay, and then once you realize you have to spend 50 cents every time you write them, or like I say, you have to spend $10 to buy 40 stamps. And yes, is for each picture that you send is a stamp, for each message that you send is a stamp, but it's worth it in the form that that person receiving that love is no value that you could put on true love. And trust me, these are the number one things people talk about. Oh, my family didn't even get on my JPay, or my cousin, or my brother, or my sister, or my homeboy, or this, that, and the third, man. Or he signed up on JPay, his name on my contact list, but he ain't never write me. You know, people value time. You learn to value time. And if you're not valuing that time and making the best of it, then you're not doing something right. You know, just take the time to think, take the time to really analyze in the form of how blessed you are, no matter how hard it may be. Somebody always in a worse situation than you are. Know what I mean? So, and sometimes when you know people down and out, when people have already made that mistake, hopefully you don't give up on them. Hopefully you could be part of their journey and them becoming better and doing something better, or being able to give back as I am. You know, I don't think I'd be able to do this if it wasn't for my loved ones and family pouring into me the whole time that I was incarcerated. You know, I had people that was, you know, big disappointments to me, but I also had people that stood behind me and stood strong. And one thing that they always told me was like, they was like, bruh, like, you in there, you locked up, you gone, you this, you that, and you hold your head up and you still, you know, strive for success. So you help me out here. And you may don't realize some of the people that's incarcerated is some of the sharpest minds that I ever been around. And just you doing the simplest thing, you may not understand how they could be helping you, how you could see their strength and how they endure something that you probably couldn't imagine yourself even going through, but you could grab from, you could, feed off their energy, and you could lean on them at certain times, or they could say something to you that help get you through a situation. You just never know. So for me, like I say, I left some good brothers behind. Some people I left behind, I hope they get it together, and one way or another they did what they did. Maybe they even deserve to be in the position that they in. But like I say, people change, and I want to be able to exploit that. I want to show people the journey of change. And like I say, I hope you enjoyed this episode. There's so many other things that I want to be able to bring to y'all. There's so many conversations that I want to be able to have. So if you feel like you have a platform or a story, if you even have questions, inbox me, hit me up, look me up on certain platforms, Jeffrey Wilson 1205 on Instagram. Look me up on Facebook. Like I say, please subscribe to my channel. I'm here to give y'all insight. I'm here to exploit my journey and tell you, what it took me to get where I'm at today. And like I say, I'm taking y'all with me. I'm not even nowhere near where I want to be, but like I say, I'm taking steps towards that every day. And I just want y'all to take this journey with me. So, like I say, subscribe, please subscribe. I can't ask enough. And, thank you for your time. Thank you for sitting down and being interested in the things that I expose and the things that I have to say. I know people wonder, like, dang, he got on the same thing as last time. I want people to know, yes, this is an outfit that you get released in. This is what you come home in or whatever, even down to the boots. Like I say, I walk plenty miles. I always tell you, if you haven't walked a mile in these, then you don't understand what I've been through. But like I say, I'm here to give you insight on what that journey is. And I come to you raw. I give it to you how it was given to me, but I try to give people the full layout. This is the reality of it. This is what they sending you home in, and this is what I be coming to y'all in. When y'all see me, when I do the interviews, you see me, freshen up, Dapper Dan, or however you see it fit. And in my opinion, that's what it is. But at the end of the day, I bring it to y'all raw. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure some of the people that you visit, they be in the jumpsuits, then they be this color. So at the end of the day, I'm just trying to give it to y'all as raw as possible, as genuine as possible, and give you the reality before you have to face that reality, or more or less give you the reality of the transition from coming from those circumstances or situations. But be thankful for what you have. Be thankful for the things that the amenities that what prison offer versus the things that you have out here in society and the free world. You have a different luxury out here, and I hope this episode was able to give you that reality.